All right, well, I will go ahead and jump into this to make the most of everybody's time. My name is David Sutton. I'm an e-faculty coach for Tarrant County College's Connect campus in Fort Worth, Texas. The Connect campus is our 100% online campus for TCC, separate from our sister campuses that have the traditional modes of learning. So everything we do is all about that engaged online learning process. And e-faculty coaching is how we maintain collaborative quality assurance for our campus. So let's go ahead and name the elephant in the room: feedback. There are a lot of people who fear it, they're cautious of it, and it's for probably a pretty good reason. Usually it's because faculty are exhausted and burned out by the number of evaluations they're getting at any one point in time. As a coach, I meet with faculty once every 2 years, and no matter when I pick up with the cycle of conversing with them, they feel overwhelmed by the amount of evaluations they're getting from department chairs or from deans or the VPAA or any number of sources. And that feedback that they're getting is constantly constructive feedback meant to help them grow, but they're afraid of these observations. And as a result, they only really want to look at making adjustments or changes to their courses that meet whatever minimum mark has been set in that evaluative process. It's not very comfortable. It's not something you feel really enthusiastic about typically. And so evaluations are something that do have a certain degree of fear to them. We got rid of this process on our part by actually looking at the idea of non-evaluative feedback. So we've got the evaluative feedback that often highlights areas needing to be improved, with the goal being to judge or assess an individual, decide whether or not they meet the metric, and then if they don't, tell them how so, and then expect the change. Non-evaluative feedback focuses on strengths and constructive suggestions. We take kind of the quality matters approach of, we look at the course, we see where things are great, and we celebrate it, and we acknowledge it with positive comments, and maybe a recommendation here, there, and yonder to help out if there's something we think they could take a next step further. Or if it's something that's not quite where it needs to be or aligned with our standard, we can identify that in reasonable chunks and be able to communicate that to them, knowing the entire time that the process is non-evaluative, that it is something that is just between the coach and the professor. It never goes out to department chairs, never goes out to deans, never goes out to administration, other than occasionally we'll talk about cumulative results of things that we're seeing as patterns throughout a semester or throughout a year, but we never report directly back on the individual faculty member. Evaluative feedback can create anxiety and fear among educators because we don't do direct feedback out to the reports that are going to be evaluating these individuals. We don't have that level of anxiety with our process. It does start with some, sure, built into it. I think it's the natural flow of anything that is evaluative. And even if it's non-evaluative, it's going to have a certain degree of nervousness. But once we kind of explain the fact that the stuff they're getting from the dean and department chair is necessary, but what we're going to be doing is equally necessary, and it's only about supporting the faculty member and driving their success, they usually quickly come to understand that we aren't the gotcha squad. We are not there to pick a course apart. In most cases, we jump in because there's some really amazing things that are happening in those courses, and they don't hear it enough. And then we look at compliance issues to be able to give them feedback on, hey, here's how we need to get things structured in our courses. Here's the why piece. Let me help you with that. And we provide this nurturing environment for our faculty members. So e-faculty coaching at TCC fills the need of this non-evaluative coaching model. The coaching program was actually created prior to the pandemic. I know a lot of institutions scrambled with the pandemic and they were worried about the process of going online. TCC had already been in that journey and all for over 5 years by the time the pandemic hit. We were completely online already in Connect. And so really, prior to the pandemic, they had already started coming up with the idea that they wanted some way to be able to guide the faculty members, ensure quality assurance was happening without it being punitive. And our president, Dr. Carlos Morales, came up with the idea of the e-faculty coach and kind of structured it after his understanding of quality matters and this non-evaluative process piece. Our program aims to enhance teaching practices, student outcomes, but we do it again in non-evaluative. Our collaborations are central to the coaching model. We go in and review, and then we meet a couple times throughout the semester, and we look at different areas of the course. We look at course introduction component pieces of it, RSI, and other elements along the way. And we make certain we have it chunked in a way that allows for the professor to process what it is we're giving them feedback on, work on changes or adjustments in a meaningful way, and it allows the process to be somewhat peaceful and enjoyable for them. Feedback from our faculty does shape our coaching framework. At the end of every cycle, they give us direct feedback on what they felt about the process, and we make adjustments and all to make certain that we're able to meet whatever needs that we may either not have been aware of or may be able to strengthen and do even better. The purpose and goals of our coaching model is that we try to enhance teaching quality. We focus on enhancing quality of teaching through personalized support and feedback for the educators. The faculty are selected. We use a rotating calendar every 2 years. They're supposed to go through the coaching model process. And we do try and get them early on in their admittance into TCC so that we can support them as they're onboarding. But it can be at any point within their career that they're with us every 2 years to give them this support so that it's always this quality element, this continual improvement model on our campus. We identify growth areas. We assist in identifying areas for growth, enabling targeted course refinement, enhanced engagement, student success metrics, and performance. We focus very heavily on a student-centered approach to looking at these courses. In fact, our first evaluation that we do ever is we go in as a student and we experience that course, and then we go give them feedback as a student. Here's the stuff that I can find easily. Here's what I can't. And that type of growth and all allows them to change their courses to better impact the students. Mentorships and guidance. Any faculty coach serves as a mentor, offering guidance and support to faculty members in their teaching practices. We are there all the way through, and one of the things we always stress at the end of our coaching cycle is that we are a resource 100% even after the coaching model process is concluded. They can hit us on Teams, email us, talk to us at a campus meeting, and we will help them with anything and everything they possibly could want or need when it comes to course design. We even offer a couple of new things that we've rolled out this year. I'll talk about in a little bit, where we've been able to give them extra opportunities for this mentorship and support. And we do provide access to resources to the faculty to be able to enhance their teaching. Sometimes it can be access to accessibility level documents or videos that have captioning enabled to be able to meet those quality component pieces of it. We can point them to Quality Matters tools and techniques. We can do a lot of different things to be able to help enhance their overall student engagement in their course. So our coaching really is, as I said before, it's a 2-year model, every 2-year model where they come in, they work with us every 2 years. We usually base who's going to be with us at any given semester on success metrics of the campus. We track them every semester. We have a fantastic person that does data analysis for us, and we'll go in and we'll look at the courses where they may be trending lower so we can jump in and see if there's a way we can help or assist. Our campus work plan usually does target some departments just because we're trying to improve or enhance them. And then, again, that rotating every 2-year process where we're just trying to get everybody every 2 years. The coaching and cycle does include a couple different steps. First, it does have an observation and review of the assigned course using a rubric modified from Quality Matters rubric. We are all at least peer reviewers, or in my case, a master reviewer for QM. So we have extensive experience working with course reviews and giving this constructive feedback piece. And the first thing we do is we do it just like you would a QM reviewer. We jump into it and we look at that course and experience it. For most of us, we look at it prior to the start of the term as they're building things and getting it ready, just what's the student going to see if they first go into it before teaching actually happens. And then we really start making our notes after the semester starts to be able to make certain that those elements that need to be present are present, and we have an understanding of what the student's process of engaging that course is going to be like. We then schedule the first of our 2 collaborations. The first one is all about course instruction, design, and policy compliance. We jump into it. We talk about how well things are being structured. We look for things like an actual present syllabus with office hours that are directly included, as well as a communications policy. We're looking for grading policy elements. We're looking for technical proficiency statements, all of those component pieces of it that should be provided in there. We're looking for structured modules that have a particular structure that Connect has rolled out for our courses. Very similar to most of the ones I've reviewed for QM, with the course overviews, with the modular level objectives in it, and everything else. We go through these courses pretty thoroughly, and then we meet and we talk to the professors about what it is we've seen. And we actually do it by stepping through each one of their areas of their course, and we talk and make our observations about what we've observed. After we get done with that collaboration, we do make a set of recommendations, much like QM, to enhance that course based upon the areas that we've been looking at. We always offer an email follow-up that has direct links to our campus resource hub to be able to get access. If it's, say, for instance, they need to modify their syllabus to make it accessible and have all the policy pieces, we have a pre-built template that all they've got to do is go to this website, copy the HTML code, port it into our Canvas, save it, and then they can make the changes necessary. We give them access to all those resources, and we even offer to help step them through it. We also make certain we communicate that we understand you're not going to make all the changes in one given course that's already live. Like, for instance, if we're meeting with them for our first collaboration, say week 3 or 4, we're probably not going to change the syllabus in that course, just because if we change too much, that can cause confusion with the students. They can feel that the professor is not quite on target or something's off, and that can cause more damage than we seek to cause ever in a course. And so what we'll do is we'll have them sandbox the course and build out a new version of it that has the compliant pieces. So when they have their next iteration of it, it'll have everything included. Collaboration 2 is the one that's the trickier one. It's our RSI one when we're looking at regular substantive interaction. This is the instructor-initiated communication piece, and this one's the more difficult one because there's a confusion often that exists with our faculty as to what actually constitutes RSI and how many different forms of it they actually have to have present. We have a threshold of having 3 different forms of federally recognized RSI in our courses, the federal standard being 2, but we go through it, we talk them through it, we give them guidance on how to be able to have these elements in there, the importance of them, and in all honesty, it helps to be able to improve those metric pieces. And so if a faculty member has really been pretty much on target with the RSI piece, this collaboration can be a shorter one, but it's still a deep one that we go through and we celebrate and acknowledge where they're really doing some amazing interactions, that they're creating this learning environment for their students. It's authentic and similar to what our face-to-face courses would be offering. And if they lack RSI, those can be longer ones. They're usually scheduled, these collaborations, for 30 minutes. I've had some go upwards of an hour just because of the need to converse a little bit more and help them understand what it looks like to have substantive interaction present within their course. The nice thing is when we get to the close of it, they're able to incorporate it in, and the course is enhanced because of it. After the observations, we do have a feedback loop completion survey that we send out, and then we give them a certificate that has a couple of different elements. It gives them 2 hours of professional development for the college, and it bypasses a third of our online instructor certification renewal course. The idea is that if you've gone through coaching, we've been enhancing a lot of the stuff you would learn in that same certification course, and you should be credited for the time that you've actually pumped into it. And the nice thing is about working with it through us is it's not just you've gone through and checked off boxes in a Canvas course on how to teach online. You've had some direct feedback on your course live as it's happening and been able to have an opportunity to improve and enhance it while we're going through the process. Now, we do have a couple of different coaching methodologies that we do have. We do actually have one-on-one coaching, which is what I've just been talking about. These are the collaborative sessions that we have where we look at specific needs for improvement, and we're really trying to go in depth into the coaching process. We do have an actual, sorry, I'm seeing in the comments section. Let me just pop over. I've got it running on the side. We actually do have an online instructor certification course that's built out by our instructional design team at Connect. It's now been handed over to our organizational development division of TCC. So everybody in the entire college system is taking this course to be prepped to teach online at any moment in time. It's similar in some ways, but not at the same time. It really is. I've had a great fortune of actually going through several onboarding courses for several different institutions in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and then outside of the state of Texas. And it provides a pretty comprehensive look at how to build out a course and the required component pieces that go into it and need to be developed out. But to say that it has that direct feedback like a QM certification where they go in depth to be able to give constructive feedback and make changes. If you've done a QM course on pretty much no matter what you submit, there's going to be some sort of thing that you need to work on back. And they do try to target this, but I mean, we're talking about finite resources, so it can't always hit everything 100%, as I'll come up here in a moment with some of my case examples of people that have gone through it and they haven't quite gotten everything they were after. Our online teaching course is required every 2 years. Everybody has to go through the process. I just got done with my recertification course earlier this semester. And so we try to make certain that it's frequent, just the same as the coaching. And every 2 years is pretty much what we're looking at for everything across the board. That doesn't mean we can't require somebody to go back through the process if they're having issues. But truthfully, if they're having issues, we don't send them back through the OIC, we send them to us. The department chairs do have the ability to request that we work directly with their faculty. We do, as always, and point out whatever we do with them, we'll help them. But that help is between us and them. But we will happily jump in there and we'll deal with direct issues if there's something that pops up. So back over to the slide portion, and I appreciate the questions. Just keep them coming. So we do have the one-on-one standard coaching. This last year we offered outside of coaching observations. These have been pre-term. We opened them up to the departments, said anybody that wants to can request a collaboration with one of the coaches. We will jump into your course before the term starts out. We'll go through, do a quick review of it, and then we'll meet with you for 20 minutes to talk about targeted areas to be able to address, tweak, or modify. You would think this would be something if you would think this would be something that have low turnout, but on average, we have about 50 faculty members every semester since we started offering it, asking us to go in and look at their courses and give them direct feedback to see if their courses are on target and are going to be successful. So that's not anywhere near the majority of our faculty, but it's still a large number of people that are actually participating and engaging in this process. And so we've been trying to enhance it and roll that type of opportunity out for them. So our non-evaluative feedback, as I said, our observations are solely for e-faculty coaching. We do not report out to anybody. This has been something that has been very unique for us in our model, because the one thing that we stress to administrators frequently, because we've had several that have changed out over the years, is that if we go and start giving out our feedback of what's happening within our coaching observations, what we see and what we notice, then we're going to destroy our model pretty quickly. The faculty feel very comfortable coming to us and they'll talk to us about the stressors that they're facing and the concerns they're getting maybe from the department chair or something else like that, and they don't feel that it's as clear as it can be. And we want them to have that comfort to at least let that out, but then we can sit there in turn and using some crucial conversation techniques, jump into, okay, let's see if we can help you with this. Let's see if we can help, redirect us and answer this concern piece. So we don't report out on the individual coaching, but we do talk about, again, trends that we see throughout a semester. And these conversations not only happen when we meet with the administrative team and we talk about planning for the next year, but in our, we have connections weeks on our campus. It's the week before the course start, faculty come up, and we lead sessions and all looking at typical areas of concern just to give everybody a chance to be able to get that support and that help. But again, it's not evaluative. We don't give anything out directly to the institution about the one-on-one, and that protected privacy piece has been absolutely essential because the faculty have come to realize that we are there to truly help them. We are truly not gotcha. And it's gotten to the point where we're even being recommended to sister campuses for people that haven't gone through coaching yet. They're sitting there going, hey, you should go through coaching. And we're getting emails asking, can I be in the coaching cycle next? Because of what the experience has been like. So why do we do coaching? We do want to identify strengths within the course. And that's one of the things that I feel evaluations are okay at it. But I think that with the number that most administrators have to go through, it's not like you can sit there and focus 100% on it. So that one would be an interesting one. I would have to log completely into the system to give complete access to what our rubric component piece looks like. If you would like to contact me, I can happily share some screenshot pieces and some of that information out with you outside of the conference piece. That way I can log into and get access to it and send it over. We do actually work with the design team. We are right next to each other in the cubicle system at Connect, and so we're constantly in conversation with one another. In fact, they help train us in a lot of ways because the ID team knows a lot more when it comes to accessibility and pieces like that than the traditional faculty member might. And most of us that are coaches were faculty first that had some experience with design. And so we've worked collaboratively with them. We've also been able to go back and forth. They've had several peer-developed courses that they're working on. We do master and peer review those internally with the ID team and get feedback on how to enhance them and get them aligned because we're going to send everything through QM certification. But we also help with, so we have some older courses that are not set up for peer developed coursework for a little bit, but they have some issues that need to be resolved. And so the faculty coaches will log into those template courses. We'll make those changes and modifications. So no, we're working hand in hand with them. And we even got fortunate enough that our president convinced the college to have the LMS administrators housed on our campus as well. They're just a cubicle set over two. So if we have anything with the LMS, we can go and communicate with them too at the same time. But yeah, again, if you're wanting access to those Rivet pieces, I'm happy to share out. That's just a login step piece and all. And you can shoot me an email. I'll happily send that to you. So we do look at areas of improvement. We do want to make certain that the students are continually improving, the faculty members are continually improving their courses. We do believe, much like a quality matter review, that even if it's a solid course, that everything's perfect, there's something that we can be able to help them with a little bit. We want there to be a benefit from having gone through the process. And again, since most of us review for QM, we're pretty good at finding at least something to have a conversation about. And those conversations can lead to some really enhanced learning that we never could have imagined happening within the courses. The faculty members taking some tools and element pieces of it in directions just unimaginable. And then course accessibility, something we're really trying to work on. We have I think most of the institutions are facing this. We have that push that we have to get everything in order and fast. And so this has been one of the areas where we've been able to borrow from our instructional design team's background pieces and then pull in our own and help to enhance the accessibility pieces within the courses that we have. We do go through, and when we do our observations, we're checking for alt text, we're checking for captioning and transcripts, we're checking for font types and everything else like that. We are just scanning that course in depth to make certain that anybody that is taking that course is able to have a truly accessible experience and able to experience the course the same as anybody else. We do influence the classroom dynamics a bit. The strategies that we use can actually make for more productive student interactions. We stress the need for the instructor's presence to be in that course. We're trying to get them constantly present within there, speaking to the students, engaging them, because the more engagement that they have from the professor, the higher level of success that they tend to have in the course. We're also having to look at different modalities to be able to reach out to those students, because as has come up in some of the sessions I've listened to over the last 2 days, they're not checking the emails. You can put your announcements on your homepage right on of the campus course, and they're not going to click those necessarily, but we're trying to find as many ways as we can to have this communicative element piece of it, and being able to walk them through different options and look at their courses with this non-evaluative observational feedback process gives them some tools and options to be able to do that, which has been, those dynamics and that student engagement has been enhanced exponentially with it. So let's talk about a couple of cases of coaching and process, just give you some idea of what it's like for us. So I've got 3 faculty member cases I'm going to go through pretty quickly. The first one is faculty member number 1, a new adjunct faculty member who had completed our OIC program, and they were selected just because they were new. We wanted to get in front of them as quickly as we can, and we realized that going through our OIC process is great training, but execution sometimes could really benefit from support. And so we want to get in front of that as often as we possibly can. While the requirement of coaching could have been something that was concerning, the professor was actually feeling overwhelmed by everything they'd gotten in the OIC. They were worried they're making missteps. And so we were quickly welcomed into this conversation because, hey, you're going to give me some support and something I just picked up that y'all stress is very important. Great. That way I'm not trying to stumble along blindly and figure out if I got this right. I'll have somebody helping guide me along the way. Collaboration is actually one of the easiest ones I've had. The professor had used everything that we'd provided in the trainings modules. It had the template pieces we had plugged in, had course development pieces that we had guided them through. And so it was a very easy course to go through and be able to provide some feedback to enhance it. But overall, the course itself was solid. It had everything that you could want to be able to experience especially from a newbie, in an online course. I mean, a welcoming course video on the home page, a lot of the personality flowing within it, ease of access to resources and materials, learning objectives really clearly accessible with links and alignments to the different pieces of the puzzle that we're going through in that course. It was a solid course. So we did have some stuff to talk about, though. We looked at mostly regular substantive interaction through the announcements, talked about how to activate them on the home page, talked about different ways for being able to moderate within discussion boards. We just looked mostly at the substantive interaction piece because that's usually where the confusion comes from new people on the online modality on our campus that have gone through the training. There's a unit on our RSI, but it's sometimes hard to wrap their heads around it 100%. And so we kind of talked about that piece. And I mean, the professor's just phenomenal. I mean, she created engaged announcements. She included instructional video pieces in it. She was finding new, different ways to be able to engage them in their discussion boards. Her presence, moderating, and communicating with the students was outstanding. And so, really, with our work with her has just been preterm coaching. She just asks for assistance to look at her courses every once in a while to see how things are going. And other than that, if something comes up, we know that she'll reach out to us. But again, easy one to be able to collaborate with. And we guess it's all about getting ahead of them jumping into our campus and making certain that they're comfortable with the tools we've given them. Faculty member two is an unusual one because I don't typically have individuals that have repeat sessions of coaching. They go through the coaching and 2 years later we'll see it again. But I do have one individual I've been working with for a while now, at least 3 subsequent terms that we've had of engagement. And the reason is the faculty member is a longstanding member of the TCC. She's been with the college for over 20 years, teaching in multiple modalities. She's fantastic with the instructional side of things. The design piece component of it was really getting in the way. The online learning element pieces of how to design out modules, how to structure learning units, presentation of syllabus and everything else like that was really overwhelming her. And she managed to get stacked in her first semester of coaching with a lot of things. She had her OIC certification program she was doing. She had a dual enrollment certification program she was doing. She had her annual evaluation. And I got assigned coaching on top of all of this. And so she was extremely overloaded. And the easiest way to be able to work with her is I explained that everything that I was going to do with her, I would help her. It would help her directly in the other areas to be able to hit alignment and complete it. I even went so far because I'd never done the dual enrollment certification program for our campus. I requested that the ID team admit me to the course. I took the course myself so I could know what that experience was like and cater my coaching to be able to fit that element piece of it as well. For her, the course issues included lack of a homepage or getting started element. You didn't really have any idea of how to navigate through her course. No instructional modules with learning objectives. She just had a couple of modules with a bunch of different documents and videos in them, but no real structure to it. Learning activities were not active or present within the LMS. Most things were in a third-party vendor system. There was no compliant syllabus, and the videos that she had in the course, while they were phenomenal videos, they were older YouTube loads, and they did not have captioning or any sort of the accessibility pieces plugged into them. The professor had a passion for teaching, but she really was having a major issue when it came to creating a course that would be inviting to students and would allow them to be successful in it. I honestly, looking at it, could not figure out how to navigate her course. And through coaching, I was able to collaborate this with her. But I had to chunk it out because, again, she was overwhelmed. She had constantly reiterated the fact that she had taught multiple times in multiple years in the campus and how successful those had been. And she was overwhelmed by everything. And so our collaborations over the 3 terms, we've actually chunked things down. We've actually managed to build out an actual shell of a course that has all the standards included in it. We've done everything from building out homepage piece designs of it, the instructional presence piece, syllabus designed using our campus template, built out modules that are properly structured with modular learning objective overview pages, aligned assignments that are in order and taking place within the LMS system. And the professor, while still having improvement that is necessary to fully meet our standard, has gone exponentially. And because she feels that we are a safe haven from the stressors she feels, she reaches out to us anytime there's a concern or question. It is not uncommon to get 2 or 3 emails from her in a month asking for assistance with sometimes big projects, sometimes not so big. I've had to, for instance, go as far as to actually look up those videos and find accessible versions of them online so that she could be able to provide them to her students and use them in her instruction. But whatever step it takes to be able to support it so that the students have that learning experience that they're needing and they deserve, and she is able to be successful in her teaching is what we do. And it's one of those positive things. All the coaches have a pretty laid back. We're pretty cheery people most of the time. And so because of that, no matter what the stress is, no matter what they come to us with, we're just, okay, this sounds like a fun challenge. Let's get to it. Fact number three, this is our newest problem that we've been facing the better part of the last year. This is an individual that has issues with third-party integration, and this might be something your institutions are facing as well. So this particular individual had gone through our OIC training where we clearly communicated the expectations of how to design a course, and yet the moment we logged in that course, it was 100% third-party vendor system. There were no modules, there was no syllabus, there was a homepage that had a link directly into the third-party vendor system, and that was it. Everything else was housed within that vendor component piece of it. And coaching is actually where our institution became aware that this was an issue, because several of us had gotten assigned some people to coach in this term, and we jumped in to do our evaluation. We can't evaluate anything because we can't see anything. This is a concern, so we pulled those individuals out of cycle, and we started addressing the problem. And we figured out a way around it, and this is one of the individuals that jumped in after we figured out how to coach through it. So our OIC does provide them with a pathway to success to be able to design their courses, but this individual had been told by previous people in the discipline that the use of third-party vendor systems was a proper thing to do, and it really had never been considered. What's the balance look like? How do we use a third-party vendor system integrated in, which they are sometimes superior to what we have in the LMS platforms that we have available, but how do we do that and then at the same time be able to have those compliant pieces we need for our accreditation purposes and federal compliance and everything else like that, so the present learning is taking place within our LMS system. So to coach this individual did require more than a typical session would. This actually required us walking through this entire course design thing pretty much from start to finish. Our first collaboration, we set the tone. We talked honestly about the concerns with the design components of the course, reassured them that the observations, recommendations would be with us, coaching back and forth. And then I had them walk me through the process of how they teach their course, because they feel that they've got a proper system in place that works exceptionally well for them. I need to understand that system so I can be able to help with the integration component piece of it, because we don't have access to these vendor systems. And so they jumped in and they explained to me how they were using the vendor system in their course, and I was able to better understand how we could fold that into our design requirements while at the same time using this amazing software to be able to help guide student learning. The change in the script and having the professor guide me through it, they felt really comfortable with everything. They were open to the fact that I was about to point out the fact that it was non-compliant. There were things that we needed to work on. And as they went through that walkthrough component piece of it, I was able to make some notes on how we could build out modular units that could link into the third-party system while still coming back into our platform to do the assessment pieces and some things like that to be able to show the learning in our platform. So recommended changes included, we built out the compliant syllabus piece, again, so using our campus template, created instructional modules. We had the overview pages for learning objectives and alignment activities. We had instructional videos that they created themselves and plugged into the course to provide direct teaching to the students, so it enhanced what was going on in the third-party system. We clearly had labeled links to the third-party system that allowed for alignment to the MLOs on our overview page. And then we had discussion activities that were created to be able to provide students with the opportunity to demonstrate learning within our platform. The recommendation, of course, was made to include some elements of quizzes and assignments within the platform as well. But that one's a little harder to sell sometimes with the math courses, just because, for instance, some of the third-party vendor systems are far superior at plotting graph points. And if they need you to plot graph points, and that's a part of the assessment, it's a valid concern. And so we worked out ways and all to be able to make suggestions to help them along the way. But this is some of the key areas that we focused on first to be able to really get them structured, and then we can take it to the next level as we move forward. For each step, I did collaborate with the professor. I walked them through the process, gave them access to the resources, and by the end of the course, we had a fully functioning course shell that could be used for future terms. And as of the last report from the department chair, no issues have happened. We've been doing pre-term course reviews since, and we're enhancing stuff as we go along. They're starting to build more stuff into the LMS platform so they can use the third-party system, but if someone jumps into it and looks at this course, there's no question of here's how in some ways the students demonstrated mastery of the objectives that were present. So when it comes to feedback and coaching, and this is where I want to spend the last little bit of our time, there's one way to really be able to share what coaching is like, and that's from our faculty themselves.
first reaction was, I must be in trouble.
To be honest, I wasn't sure.
At first I thought it would be a lot of nitpicking.
I really did think at that time, because I was teaching full-time at Northwest Campus, and I was teaching 2 classes for Connect each semester. And I thought, this is great because I think I have a lot to learn. I think there's a lot out there that I just don't know about.
I had a lot on my plate, and I was doing a PDC course, and I just didn't know what to expect of e-coaching, and so I thought it would be a lot of nitpicking, and it was going to be a lot of fixing of the course. And so I didn't really want to have a lot more to do, basically.
I thought it would involve a full look at my course. Really in depth of everything, and so that's a little intimidating. My main goal was to make sure that I had gone back into my classes and reviewed everything on that list to make sure, in particular for myself, what questions I had for you guys.
So I was a little bit anxious. I had some trepidation on that. Again, I thought my workload was going to increase, and I was already a little bit overwhelmed doing the Connect and my other duties as well. I was just a little bit anxious. I didn't really have any prep to what to expect on that. I mean, everybody says it'll be okay, it'll be all right, but nobody really tells you the details. And that's true of a lot of things in life. I was a little nervous.
I really didn't know what to expect. I had never done anything like that before. And I think that may have been a brand new thing for Connect at that time. And so I hadn't even heard of it. So I didn't have anything to base an opinion on. But I was looking forward to it. And I really, up to that point, as far as I was aware, the only eyes that had been on my online course were mine and my students. I can only see my class from my point of view, with my mind the way it is, and my talents, and graphic design or visual appeal. Like, that's not really one of my talents, and I think that's what the e-faculty coaches can offer, is a different eye and a different point of view.
It was easy. I mean, it was more of a guide as opposed to a hindrance. And that's what I liked about the process. It was more of like a tool that I could use as opposed to an obstacle.
All my questions were answered. So whenever it was finished, I felt like I had all my questions answered. We actually, during our discussion, as we were discussing things, I felt very comfortable asking additional questions based on the feedback that I was getting. At the end, I felt very satisfied with the answers I was getting. I felt like I understood the direction I was supposed to be taking, the corrections I was supposed to be making, and then just kind of moving on to that next section was where my focus shifted to.
My course is pretty heavy in lectures right now, and so I'm working on getting everything subtitled. That was probably my biggest thing with the lectures, was the subtitle issue. And then the second thing was with getting the captions on the pictures, the tags. And so we talked about that, and I've got a plan in place. And so that's probably the biggest thing.
Every other college algebra or statistics class at TCC is more or less what you're going to see in my class. But the discussion board, I like to put something out there. I make a video. I pose a question that takes something that we're learning about and makes it into kind of a brain teaser, like something that requires some critical thought, not just something that you can give a flat answer to that's very direct, straightforward, and I think it draws the students in, and it allows, because it's not straightforward, because it's kind of an entree to a lot of critical thinking, it really opens up to a lot of back and forth between me and the students. And I think that, ultimately is what you want from a discussion board, is as much as you can get the interaction there.
And looking at aligning things, the QM to the content. So not only the structural pieces, the accessibility pieces, but to the actual content. How do I marry those things together? So I know that's a huge job in a class. It's not an easy thing. It takes a little bit of time. But also, I think one thing that you guys emphasized is take it piecemeal. do a little bit at a time, and eventually you've got the whole thing done, and try not to stress too much about it. But if we can just take those steps, continue to build and move forward with those steps, marrying the accessibility, the QM, the quality matters with the content and all of the things that you guys are teaching us, I think that is exciting. I think being open to exploring my class deeper, and really looking for how I can make it better. I know that seems more generic, but it got me excited to look at my class more in depth, to look at, am I having interactions that are, deeper with my students? Am I providing materials? Does my syllabus make sense in the layout? I know with coaching, I asked about other resources that could be used. And so I got some suggestions for other resources as well. And I think that was very helpful.
I would share with them that it's not the boogeyman. I mean, a lot of people, when they get that email, they're like, oh crap. It's not that big of a deal. It's more, like I said, a help, not an obstacle. And so I would tell them to look at it as more of like a tool, what I said earlier. Something that's going to help your class in the long run, and it's not there to nitpick and to put you down. It's actually there to make you better.
So I'm going to end it just a slight bit short, but we do have a lot of positive feedback we get continually from the people that we've been able to coach and support through this process. It's allowed our quality assurance measures on our campus to be improved exponentially as we've been going forward. And it's something that we have sister campuses that are trying to implement this into their own campuses for the face-to-face courses, to be able to create this non-evaluative model that will be able to stretch across and have that element of continual support. I do know that it's time for me to definitely land this plane, so I've seen plenty of questions popping up in the chat as we've been going along. If there's anything else y'all want to throw in there, feel free to. I'll try and hit them as quick as I can. Otherwise, if you would like to see some of the resources we have, if there's any way I can give any further information about coaching, my email address is listed there. I'm happy to jump into a Teams or a Zoom call at any point in time to be able to talk about this. I believe very firmly in what it is that we get a chance to do on our campus and its benefits for our students and the professors. So